Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, so would everybody please rise? And Councilwoman McDonough, would you lead us tonight?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Okay, once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us this evening, and thank you all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Today's date is Wednesday, October 25th, 2017, and tonight's Town Board meeting is a Town Board work session. And for the record, all board members are present with us this evening with the exception of Councilman Lombardi, who has a work obligation this evening, and he couldn't join us. So we have our town council as usual. I identify who he is all the way down to my left, Greg Fulchetti, excellent town attorney. Thanks for being here, Greg. And we have a planning board meeting going on next door, and one of our town engineer will be joining us when the items come up on the agenda for him. So the first item on the agenda is a review of the town board minutes of October 18th, 2017. Any town board members have any comments, questions, concerns regarding the minutes? If not, we're going to move on. Okay, item number 1, Police Chief Mike Kazari. This is to consider request to advertise for bids for the purchase and cleaning of police uniforms. So there's 2 memos here from the chief. One is regarding the dry cleaning of the department's uniforms. Please review the attached bid specifications, and if you have any questions, you may contact my administrative assistant, Rose Bierbaum. The Town of Carmel has the option to choose the vendor that would be best to serve the interest of the department. Town of Carmel has the exclusive option to renew awarded contract for up to 3 additional 1-year extensions. The town will give 30 days written notice to the vendor for each and every additional 1-year extension. Any such extensions will also be accepted by the vendor within a 30-day period. So the chief is looking for a contract for 2018. This is the bids for the dry cleaning of the police department's police officers' uniforms. And he's also requesting that there be 3 additional 1-year extensions. So it could be a 4-year agreement. So 1 year, 2018, and 3 additional 1-year extensions. Correct, Counselor?
That's the proposal, yes.
Okay.
It would be your option to extend it at the, within 30 days of the expiration of any given term.
Okay. All right. So he also is requesting that to go out to bid for the purchase of new uniforms for the members of the Carmel Police Department. Pretty much same language. All proposals must be in writing and include the address of the bidder's showroom. That must be, this is the only difference, that the bidder's showroom for the new police uniforms and equipment be within a 35-mile radius of the Town of Carmel. The bidder, upon request, must schedule at least 3 measurements at the Town of Carmel Police Department headquarters to accommodate 3 tours of duty rotation in the schedule. The bidder must have on-site facilities and the alterations and repair of uniforms. All articles of clothing shall be free of damage and defects of any kind. Upon the police department's request, each bidder must submit samples without any expense to the Town of Carmel Police Department. The Town of Carmel Police Department has the option to choose the vendor that would best serve the interest of the Town of Carmel Police Department. Same thing, the bid would be for 2018, and the chief is requesting 3 additional 1-year extensions. So that would be the same as the dry cleaning bid. 3 1-year extensions.
Can I just make one suggestion? Since we have some female officers, can we also ask for a price for a female shirt, the short sleeve, long sleeve, and the pants? Because our shirts are different than guy shirts.
Than guy shirts?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're not in police uniforms, I don't know. We can ask the chief. But,
Yeah.
you know, I just think
Yeah, it's a good
if
point.
it's something
Yep.
is more comfortable for the
Yeah.
female to wear,
Gotta
at
be a
least get a
different cut.
price. I
Yeah.
would think it's a different cut.
It's definitely a different cut, but I know when we used to go out to bid for the fire district, it would be per uniform, and that included female members of service, male members of service. It was priced per uniform, but it's definitely worth confirming at least that it's included, because
That-
there
that
is
it-
definitely a different
Yeah,
cut
there's a
on everything.
different cut,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, good point, Sue.
The only
We'll
other-
check with the
The
chief.
only other thing, Kenny, that I think we should tell the public is that, because there's probably some New York City police officers watching this, and they're going, they have to buy their uniforms,
Yeah.
where Carmel is.
Yeah, you wanna
is-
just-
So this is just to let people know, this is part of their contract. It's been this way for over 12 years, or that I know about it, so it might even be longer than 12 years.
It's back when I joined in '82.
There you go. So it's over
Yeah,
35
so-
years that it's part of the contract.
Uniform clause in there.
Yeah, so.
I hate to admit that I've been.
You're old.
I'm old, yeah, I know, thanks, yeah. So we just reminded everybody, thank you. Yeah, so, any further questions, comments, concerns regarding the chief's request?
Nope.
Are we okay with the 3 one-year extensions?
Yeah.
Okay, good, yeah, all right. All right, next, number 2, Michael Simone, the Carmel Highway Superintendent. This is to consider request to award bids for miscellaneous highway materials and supplies. So there's a memo here from our Highway Superintendent, Mike Simone, dated October 11th, 2017, regarding highway requests for fall bids. I am recommending the following bids be awarded as follows: washed sand, Red Wing Properties, FOB $15.50 per ton, delivered $20.50 per ton. Winter Mix Package Pavement Company Incorporated. The winter mix is $110 per ton, $308 per pallet. Mileage adjustment will be $3.68 per ton. Guide rail complete layout and installation per New York State DOT specifications, and it lists galvanized guide rail, Corten guide, it's corrugated guide rail, timber, which would be ironwood, and it lists the amounts. I don't need to go down all of the amounts, but it ranges anywhere from $22.75 for the corrugated to the Corten corrugated beam rail is $24.10 per linear foot, and the timber ironwood, 100 feet and over, would be $115 per linear foot, $97. If it's over 100 feet, it would be $97 per linear foot. End terminals, timber rail, $16.50. Anchorage unit, guide rail, back slope, $2,600 each. So the highway superintendent is recommending that the board approve these bids for his winter materials, winter mix, and guide rails as well. And that includes the washed sand. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Any questions, comments regarding the highway superintendent's recommendation to approve these bids?
All good?
No?
Nope, good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, number 3, Rich Franzetti, our town engineer, has joined us. Rich, thanks for being here. 3 and 4 are with our town engineer. 3 is to consider a bond return for Putnam County Savings Bank, tax map number 86.11-1-1. That's for $350,000. And number 4 is to consider request to authorize payment for the emergency repairs for Carmel Water District number 8. This is the Crest Road tank, storage tank. So Rich, you want to start with 3?
So as you mentioned, this is a bond return for the Putnam County Savings Bank located on 150 Route 6. The applicant had requested a field inspection for the reference property to evaluate the status of the site construction for the purpose of determining whether the bond should be returned. The original bond of $350,000 was posted on June 30th, 2016. All improvements pursuant to the site, to the planning board site plan approval have been completed, and therefore it's recommended that the bond be returned.
Okay, and it's just important to note, Rich, that on 10/11/17, the town engineer signed off on this and approved it, and also on 10/11/17, the planning board chairman, Harold Gary, also signed off on it, as well as, did you mention Mike Carnazza?
Mike Carnazza has also signed
Okay.
off on it.
Our building inspector has signed off on it as well, all agreeing to the bond return. Any questions, comments, concerns from the town board regarding this bond return? Sue, this
No.
is the bank. the,
Yeah, they did a nice job.
Yeah, they did. It came out nice. Yep. Okay. All right, next, number 4, as I stated earlier, this is to consider to authorize a payment for emergency repairs to Carmel Water District number 8. It's the Crest Road tank. Rich?
So the board may recall, I was in front of you a couple of weeks back on September 19th, or after September 19th. B&J, the operators of Carmel Water District 8, advised us, the engineering department, about a leak in the vicinity of Crest Road Tank. The tank has services Carmel Water Districts 1, 8, 10, and 13. The repair has been made to the system. When I was here previously, it was to approve the purchase and installation of an InstaValve by Legacy Corporation. The final work was completed by B&J and Cook Excavating. The total cost for this emergency repair was $38,342.50. Legacy Supply at $21,000, which was previously approved by the board. B&J and Cook Excavating at $10,810 and $65,3250, respectively. And so, like I said, the work's been completed. The potential emergency has been avoided. There are sufficient funds in the budget for this work, and we recommend that these invoices be paid. The work has been completed, so just wanted to let the board know that. It's more of an advisory to let you know when these big-ticket costs come through.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rich. Any questions, comments for the engineer? Okay, great. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Okay, and number 5, I'll handle this one. Joe Wilichowski, the Town of Carmel Fire Inspector. This consider request to attend the New York State Department of State Building Codes, Standards and Codes Training Seminar, and the dates are November 28th through the 30th, 2017. This is in Latham, New York. Our Fire Inspector, Joe Wilichowski, is continuing his education and training up in Albany on those dates, and this is for his certification in being approved and certified to do building inspections, issue building permits, issue COs, et cetera. Right now, he's just certified as a fire inspector, so this is expanding his abilities and his certifications in the area of code enforcement and building inspection as well. So this is something that we had encouraged our fire inspector to go ahead and continue his education, and with the help of my administrative assistant, Ann Pescarella, and myself, we were able to enroll him in this training seminar in Albany on those dates, as I stated, the 28th through the 30th. So we're going to go ahead and, board, is everybody good with our Fire Inspector, Joe Wilichowski, attending that training? All right, this is number D. It's A, B, C, D, E, and F. He has his certifications in the area of 9A, 9B, and 9C. This will give him the certifications in the 9D area. And then once he completes 9D, then he'll go for E and F. And once he has E and F, he'll be fully certified to assist Mike Carnazza, our building inspector, with building permits and inspections and things like that related to codes and building inspections. So this is great that we're going to have 2 people. So he'll be dual track, dual certified. He'll continue to do fire inspections, but he will also be able to assist our building inspector with needs of the building department in the area of inspections. So that completes, does anybody have any questions, comments regarding that matter? Nope. All right, so that completes the agenda items for this evening's town board. It was a short agenda this evening, and I'm going to open up the floor to any members of the audience that are here with us now to come up and comment on agenda items only, 1 through 5 on the agenda at this time. Yes, how are you?
Hi, good evening. Judy Mira from Carmel. I just want to go to number 1. Do you have the prices for prior bid proposals? Can that be found somewhere?
You awarded them last December or in January, and those would be in the minutes of the, I want to say it was the second meeting of the year. It was the
Second
meeting
meeting.
after the organizational meeting, so the 14th or whatever it was this year. It's usually done at, November and December and awarded in that time frame, but this year I think it went into January.
So the minutes in
January.
January
probably
of 17?
But I can tell you that the prior years were almost always December when it was awarded, and all those would be in the meeting minutes.
Okay. And I just want to clarify something that I heard from Mr. Franzetti. Let me just get when you were talking, you talked about the 2 companies, Kruk and J&B?
Cook?
Cook and B&J.
Cook and B.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say that Cook did the excavation? Did you say B&J did excavation too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought-
Cook Excavating does the excavating, and B&J Plumbing actually did the install of the valve.
Okay,
So
Okay.
they do the plumbing in, and Cook does the excavating for.
Okay.
And Legacy
Okay,
Survives.
thank you.
Legacy Valve is the company that supplied the valve.
Okay,
That
I
had to be
just-
replaced.
I thought I heard excavating on both. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Is there anyone here for agenda items at this time? Anybody else? Okay, there being none, we're going to open up the floor to general public comment for new business. This is the open forum portion of the meeting where you can come up and address the town board on any town-related matters. Must be a resident, property owner, taxpayer to come up during this portion. Yes?
Keeping me busy. I want to go back to the school town bus problem, the driveway for the Baldwin Place Road and Grand Meadows Drive. There was an article in the paper about parents being very concerned because it's a private road, and it's been that way for a long time. And in the article, it said it's in the hands of the developer. So what has happened? Because obviously parents are very upset and saying that the only time something is really going to be pushed is unfortunately when somebody gets really hurt. And of course, we don't want that to happen. So what is the update on that? And why, when they're doing this building, why aren't these roads, and this is for my information, why aren't these roads automatically considered public so the buses can go in, so that's never a problem?
Yeah, well, I'll try to answer your question as best I can. We've made every effort, the town board has made every effort to encourage the builder, the developer, and his attorney to submit the submittals that they need in order to be considered for road dedication. The legal dedication of the road requires documents, legal documents that have to be submitted and reviewed by the town council, town attorney. And we're going back to June or July of this year, I believe there's been a request made to the builder and his attorney to submit certain documents that are required for review. And up until this point, I could tell you that not all of the requested items that are needed for the dedication of the road have been submitted. And there's been attempts made by our attorney, Greg Fulchetti, to reach out to the attorney for the developer to try to, get them to submit the items that are missing. So we've made attempts to try to move this forward, to move it along, so to speak, but it's not being delayed by us. It's being
I know.
delayed by the builder and the developer and his attorney.
I know the
They're
article,
working on it.
Yeah.
the article has said that, but at some point, are there consequences for the developer for not getting the paperwork in on time? Your parents should not have to worry about this.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let counsel, I'm gonna defer to counsel for that answer. Sorry, Greg.
There's two or three options that the town board has in the circumstance where a developer has not properly tendered the materials needed for dedication of a road. At the outset, when the project's built, the approved subdivision usually contains an offer of dedication, but that doesn't get done until the subdivision's built, so they're not running the equipment over the roads in their finished form, which is pretty deleterious to the condition of the road. So there's two or three options the board has that I've discussed with them under the attorney-client privilege. There is the process of potentially calling the bond that the developer posted an issue on it. That's a possibility. There was actually a resolution that was tabled last week because I had received a submission from the attorney, I think the day before the meeting. As it turns out, the submission was incomplete. I did let the developers council know that it was incomplete. And the response I received was that he would meet the objectives and the submission requirements without a time frame at this point. I wasn't given one. The town highway superintendent has a standard where he doesn't take roads between October and April. In that circumstance, that has not come up here, and my understanding is if the dedication submission were complete, that he would waive that exception based on the circumstances. But that's all the only thing that the board can do that I would talk about here at this point would potentially call the bond, which I'm not sure what the consequences would be here. But there's a couple other options that involve the legal process that I'd have to explain to them in a little more detail before they did it, and any action they took on that would have to be done at a public meeting in any
Okay.
event.
I hope this moves quickly. Our kids should never be at stake. Thank you.
Yeah, we're trying. And
I know the board
But
is.
just, we need to understand, though, even with the road dedication, it's then out of the town's preview on having the bus go up there. Then it goes to the school board. And and listen, I have friends that live on that road, and there's a town park on that road, but there's a lot of roads that the bus stops on Six End and similar busy
Main
roads,
road,
that,
yeah.
main roads, that they don't go in. So, and I'm not saying this as a negative, I'm just saying that it exists, and the school board and the transportation department has reasons for it. And I'm not saying that a bus won't go up that road, but that's not controlled by this board. Once it's dedicated, then it goes to the school board, and they would have to work with the transportation department to get a bus to go up there.
I know where I used to work, there were some roads where the buses stop in front of the schools, that when the roads were built, it kind of curved in, so the buses would go in there, so it would be at least out of, and then, of course, the cars would have to stop, but at least it would be out of the main, rows of the cars whizzing by and stuff. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here for the open forum, new business portion of the meeting? Yeah. How are you?
Hi, everybody. So you answered some of my questions about the bonds on some of those construction sites. And from what I understand, Gene Hopper from Mayapack, that the law has to change, is what you're telling me, that the bonds do not protect our town against developers coming in and digging holes or excavating, and then not seeing the job to completion. Am I correct in that we're not covered as a town from preventing that happening?
Well, from what the attorney, Greg, you
Well,
can
you're-
redo it. Greg spoke to him.
The site in question, the developer did the excavation that was necessary for the building of a commercial building and the improvements around it. Kenny, did it expire? Did you? Yes. Okay, my understanding is the approval's expired. The actual structure and site facilities were never built. But a bond ensures, in that circumstance, completion of the site improvements, which would be the excavation, the installation of roads or parking, drainage, stormwater, paving, the like. It doesn't ensure the completion of the project as a whole with respect to any structures or facilities that were going to be built. So in that circumstance, if you had a site that was excavated or had improvements partially done, the bond is to guarantee the completion of the improvements. But in that circumstance where there's nothing there in terms of physical improvements, it's typically used, and the surety would come in and pay for the securing of the site and landscaping and the like, rather than to build the parking lot and the drainage and do the storm drainage, the stormwater protection for a site that's not built. But the process would require the calling of the bond, then the surety would take a position, whichever surety underwrote the bond, as to what they're willing to pay and what they're willing to do. Those often end up in some form of litigation, and a lot of times the surety will bring back the original contractor to do the work. As odd as that sounds, it does happen.
So that goes back to what I just said originally, that we have no protections in place from having developers come, rip a hole in the ground, and walk away, because they're allowed to do that.
I'm not sure if that's a question. I wouldn't characterize it that way, but you're certainly entitled to have that opinion.
Well, you're saying that a bond does not ensure excavation. It's only ensuring the project is to completion.
The bond ensures the site improvements, which include the excavation. It doesn't ensure that whatever buildings or improvements, other than what is considered site work, is going to get built. So if it was going to be a three-story office building with 6,000 square feet of commercial,
I don't want to
that's
be
out with the
obtuse.
bond.
I'm having a really hard time understanding this, and I think other people would too.
So what it is say there's a piece of property.
Right.
And, we'll take that piece of property, and there's stone, and there's rocks, and there's all of that. If we call the bond, the only thing that would happen is that lot would be, I want to say, almost building ready. Okay, it would have the sewer.
No, it
Well,
wouldn't have the
it would
sewer
not the
inside.
sewer, I'm sorry. It would have the,
Stormwater.
the stormwater.
Paving,
It would
grading,
have the paving, any
curbing,
curbs that go
curbing,
around.
It has none of that,
any
though, but
landscape,
there's
But it would not have a building.
Right.
The bond does not say, okay, When you went to the planning board and zoning board, it had a beautiful, one-story, beautiful building. It would not allow us to put that building up. It would just allow, I'm just gonna say, for better sake of words.
site improvements.
The site, the pavement part of it.
Landscape.
Is there
The
pavement there?
landscaping. The landscape.
There's no sewer, there's no pavement.
Well, not sewer. I
Well, there's no
misspoke
sewer
with
on
the
that
sewer.
side
There's
of
no
town.
sewer on that side
Well,
of town.
okay, you had mentioned sewage.
Yeah, I mentioned sewer. I misspoke about the
Conceptually.
sewer. Yeah.
I'm
The storm-
really trying to wrap my head around how that is allowed to happen on Route 6. I still don't understand how that can happen, and we can walk away from it. He blasted. He used dynamite and he blasted, correct? He was blasting, the tenants, the
No, it was
taxpayers
some-
up on the
it
hill were
was some- it was some
complaining?
blasted. They had the mats there.
I'm sorry?
They were asking if it was blasted, and there were mats there, and they were
Yeah,
setting
there was
up
blasting.
charges.
So, I mean, that's construction. You know what, I'll have to do some studying on my own, because I'm not really getting a clear
but-
answer
but-
from what's
but
been
I don't know,
happening
I
here.
don't- I-
That this is just one site, we're picking apart this one site, but there are many along Route 6 like this. And I know you guys have heard this before, and I'm probably late to the party, but I am picking up the ball now, and I don't see the answers from my town board about why this is allowed to happen. And there's no protections in place. Now, you just had an example about Putnam County Savings Bank, had to put up a bond, and they're getting their money back, because look at the beautiful bank
Because
they
they
put
did a
up.
beautiful bank, right?
Right.
yeah.
But it has nothing to do with
Yet
the
this
bank.
man, this developer, I
anything
should
to
say,
do with
man,
the
could be a
bank
woman,
building. Okay.
came along, blasted the hillside, right on Route 6, and walked away. How long has it been? Did we know how old this has been? 8, 10?
No.
10, 12 years?
5 years.
At least 10?
That work.
No, more than
What do we
He
think?
finished the work. in
No,
about
it's-
5, 6 years.
finished the work.
Anybody?
Six, 7 years.
Yeah, probably closer to 6, but okay, 7, whatever.
Fortunately, what happens sometimes, and I wish we had a crystal ball, when a developer or a person buys a piece of property, and we're just going to say along Route 6, because that's what you're speaking of, they have great intentions to most, I'm going
Of
to say
course,
98% of them have wonderful intentions to build something, because it's money for them too.
Sure, of
okay?
course.
They don't want to walk away from it.
Right.
But maybe because of some something that happened in their personal life or their business life, they weren't able to complete it.
Of
all right?
course.
And that's where we can come in, and if we need to, we can call the bond and at least make it look, I'm going to say, presentable.
Right, but isn't
Okay?
that what a bond is for? A bond is to ensure that a project is seen to completion. A bond is
No.
guaranteed by...
No.
It's
that- no,
to
not to
ensure the
bank.
site improvements, which are limited to the exterior improvements on the site, exclusive of any buildings or structures.
And is that what Putnam County Savings Bank had?
I'm not sure of the
Yeah,
question.
they had
Their
a
site
bond.
work, they're not
I mean,
getting
when
a
you-
bond release because they built a building.
I mean,
They're
they're
getting a bond release because
their
they
bond
built.
return because they saw the job to completion.
Right, the site work, they saw the site work to
Site
completion,
work.
and they got the
Not-
bond
not-
return.
Not the building.
Building doesn't do
We
that.
don't look at the building and say, that's a beautiful building, now we're going to give you back your bond. We looked at it, and, well, we didn't, the planning board and the engineer, and said, you finished the paving, you finished the
drainage.
cutout, you finished the drainage, now you
Stormwater,
get it back.
prevention,
It may
all that.
help you if you get I'm trying to think of a bond, like a form that they have to fill out. So I think where you're getting a little bit
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to the town-
confused is
to the,
bond,
building
it doesn't-
department.
It's not, the building is not part of it. It's the site work.
What you're trying to get at is, you dig a hole, how come the project is not completed?
Because the contractor left.
The contractor
The
left.
contractor chose not to
contractor left.
complete the project.
It keeps happening. Why isn't
Well-
there no financing?
well, they-
Why isn't there no rendering? Why does this keep taking?
We don't, that's a good question, but these contractors and these property owners that initially chose to, go before the planning board and the zoning board, if that was the case, they spent a considerable amount of money getting the approvals, bringing it to the point where they got these site plan approvals for a building, and...
sell
Now, is-
Or they flip it and sell it.
But is that comparable
They're not-
monies
they're-
to
they're-
a bond?
They're not, they get the permits
The bond has nothing to do with the building.
to build
I
the building
understand
project.
that.
But for whatever reason, they chose not to go forward with it and complete it, whether it be financial.
How does that not go forward? Don't you gotta find out where the finances are?
Well, it's kind of, it's almost like if you want to buy a house, and you saw this beautiful house, and you go for a mortgage, and you don't get the mortgage.
No, this is not
Do you know what I'm
comparable,
saying?
no.
No, it's the concept of, we have no control if a
If you buy a
builder
piece,
walks
if you buy a
away.
piece of land
Okay.
and
You know what that, but you know what, that's exactly
I
it.
mean, we have,
David?
if you're going to speak, sir, I would prefer that you came
But
up
that's
to the-
exactly
to
what
the
you
mic.
just said, is we have no control.
We
And
have
I
no
think
control
that's
over
the bone of
building
contention.
part of it, or
That's,
of a builder walking away.
I'm not trying to challenge,
Right.
but could you help me understand, what control should we have? They have a constitutional right as the landowner to do what they're allowed to do within code. If I own a piece
Right.
of, but no, hold on. If I own a piece of land and I want to level it, and I want to build on it in 10 years, 15 years, I want to get it site-ready so I could either sell it, if the market's going to increase, I could sell it to someone who wants to come in and develop it. If the economy goes bad and I'm just going to hold it there and the land is
Right.
is level, cleared already, that's my, or the owner's constitutional right. We can't go up here and say, you must build a building on that property. We have no control to force that
Okay, well,
person to do that.
I understand what you're saying, and I think, again, that's a little bit different than we're talking about commercial property in a town, okay, that has a town board, that has members that are, we have a building department that of course tells you what you can and cannot do, okay? So we have constitutional rights that only go so far, that there are laws in place that are guiding us along those constitutional rights. So what I'm getting at is, we have, some say, don't we, as a town, that you just can't come in and, willy-nilly do whatever you want?
They would have to be in our
I mean,
codes. They would have to be-
if you wanted an X-rated club or something, you would have some say as a town that you wouldn't want that built next to a school.
First,
Am I right?
Usable
approval authority
within the code.
Right, okay, so within the code. So there are some guidelines to our constitutional rights. I mean,
Well,
so,
there's guidelines in what you have, if you come in and you want to buy the property or
Right.
develop the property, you have to go by whatever the allowable code, the law that we have. Like, my point is constitutional right, I can't go to that said builder and say, you now must build on that piece of property. I have no say over that. Now, if he says I want to build an X-rated parlor, I could say, wait a minute, that's not usable in the code in that district or in that area. But if he says I want to build another restaurant, and he has the parking, he has the sewer, he has the thing, and it's allowable in that code, I have no say.
oh, I understand that, but if he came to you and said, I'm going to blast that hillside, sell the gravel, I'm going to mine, I'm going to open up a granite quarry,
But now
would
that's
that be
different.
within code?
That's different. We don't have mining within our code.
Okay, well,
That's.
whatever he did,
no, I
we're
think he
splitting
mined
hairs,
it.
but it's an interesting point, because, this is what's happening in this
And-
town.
and The only saving grace I could tell you, and you may not be happy with it, we are looking to hire a firm to revamp our entire code, and that's going to come up, because even when I was on the ZBA, we talked about, someone
Right.
took down a mountain in Carmel, and now this is happening where it's coming to be because land is getting sparse.
Right.
So developers are getting clever, and looking for a plot of land and truly mining or major excavation
Right.
to get it buildable. So we have to take a look at that. But
Right.
as the attorney said before, that owner could have, and probably did, especially if they blasted, had a state mining permit to do what he.
Sure he did.
He did, because
Sure they
if
did.
they blasted, they had to have that, because the state has to come and govern
Right,
the
so-
blasting of that.
And I understand that, but I'm just wondering what kind of safeguards our town has. Okay, we've answered some questions there. I do want to touch briefly on our fire department. I noticed they have some nice signs that are promoting their open house this Saturday. Are those fire department signs, town
No,
signs?
they belong to Putnam County.
Putnam County.
Variable message board
Right,
signs that are out.
yeah,
Yeah, they're on loan from the county, just to advertise the open house.
Okay, great.
Are they
And-
allowed?
They would need, I don't know if a permit from the state is required.
Although
'cause
most of the roads that they're on, they are on county roads
roads.
or state roads.
Yeah, there's one on 6, and there's one by Sheer Hill, and there's another one on
Yeah.
6. That's good to know. I'm just wondering if we would be able to use that respectfully for our budget hearing on the 8th, November 8th, to notify the community that we're having our budget hearing on November 8th. Would you guys be amenable to something like that, posting that so that the public would really be aware that right around that corner, right in here, on November 8th, we're going to have our hearings?
Well, they're not our signs.
No.
They were our signs. We would, we'd
Well,
have
that-
them out for
Right.
everything.
No, they're not my signs
county-
either,
As
but I'm
far
wondering
as-
if you'd be able to borrow them as well From the town, from the county. You said they're county signs.
They're counties, yeah, they're on loan from Putnam County Highways and Facilities. I'm not sure that they would, agree to allow us to publish or post our public hearing on it as a notice. I could ask.
Well, they were
I could-
agreeable to the fire department posting it, so I think if you would let me know next week, if you've looked
Yeah,
into that and get an answer on that?
I'll inquire.
Okay,
but
that'd be
because,
really
as
important.
Susie said, they're not ours.
They're not
We
ours,
don't
so
own
we
them.
know.
No, I understand that, but neither does the fire department.
No, I
And they're
think so.
posting their open house.
Good thing because they've been up for 2 weeks.
Right.
I'm sorry?
I don't think they're allowed. Are they allowed under our code to have a sign like that?
I'm not even 100% sure the signs you're referring to. They are
The-
Like-
the-
It's the
electric-
variable.
The little
message
trailered
board.
signs, like highway signs.
You drive it up and.
You've missed them? They're all over town.
They-
You guys live in Mid-Pac?
says
I've
open
seen 'em.
house.
Oh, in
They're
the
scattered around town.
They're around town. They've been up for a couple of weeks now.
DOT right away, and they're movable signs.
Yeah.
Movable.
They're probably permitted.
And they are
Yeah,
permitted.
they're not
It goes
permanent
back-
signs.
it goes back
They're
to state
temporary
law, county
signs, and
law.
it's stay right away, but,
Yeah.
okay.
So is that something we could look into and see if we can get an answer to promote the budget hearing on November 8th?
I will.
I would really
I'll call the
appreciate
county
that.
and find out if that's something that they'll permit us to do. Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
That's it, thanks.
Okay.
Guys, have a great night.
All right, you too. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else here for new business open forum portion of the meeting?
No.
Mike, Judy? No? Okay, all right.
I'm looking at you.
Okay, we do have some announcements that we have to make tonight. One is the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. Fire prevention is this Sunday, October 29th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the main fire headquarters on Route 6. There'll be free food, refreshments. Come on down and enjoy the day, visit your safety stations, and take a ride on a fire engine. So Mahopac Fire Department Fire Prevention Open House this coming Sunday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at fire headquarters. There'll be our Town of Carmel Harvest Fest will be also this Sunday. I hope it doesn't rain. The weather forecast is for rain, but let's hope it doesn't. This coming Sunday, October 29th, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Sycamore Park off of Long Pond Road, Mahopac. It's our Harvest Fest 2017. The Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks will have its annual Harvest Fest featuring bounce houses, pony rides, petting zoo, vendors, DJ games, photo booth, trick-or-treat parade starts at 2 p.m. sharp, and more. Bring the whole family for a fun-filled day and be sure to wear your costumes. For further information or becoming a vendor, it's $20 per space, or volunteering at the event, or for more details, please call the Recreation Office at 628-7888, or like us on Facebook at Carmel Recreation. So this Sunday is the Harvest Fest at Sycamore Park. Hydrant flushing for water districts 2, wait a minute. Yeah, 2, 3, 12 by Severn Trent Environmental Services has begun October 9th through October 30th. For a schedule of dates for each road, please refer to the Town of Carmel website or Engineering Department's page or the government channels, Comcast 95 or Verizon 24. Consumers may experience the following temporary effects of the flushing: fluctuation in pressure, discoloration of water. Laundry should not be washed during this period of time. Highlighted in bold, should not be washed during this period of time. This does not present a health hazard. So this is hydrant flushing for districts 2, 3, and 12 by Severn Trent, October 9th through the 30th. Check for the schedule of the dates for each road by going to the Town of Carmel website, carmelnewyork.org, or the Engineering Department's page, or government channels 95 or 24. I'm sorry, Board, I'm going through these, and I usually have you guys read some. Jonathan, do you want to do this one while I'm, yeah, that's for the.
That's the Ragamuffin
The
Parade.
Ragamuffin Parade, yeah.
All right, yeah, perfect. Ragamuffin Parade is going to be this Sunday, October 29th. Rain or shine, it's going to be lining up for the parade at 1 p.m. The parade's going to kick off at 1:30 p.m., and then the party starts at approximately 2 p.m. This is all being hosted by the Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association in conjunction with the Carmel High School Interact Club. This is going to be from preschool up to 4th grade children, and they'll assemble again at Putnam County Office Building in the Hamlet of Carmel at 1 p.m. The parade's going to start at 1:30. Free admission, prizes, refreshments, tons of fun. Carmel Civic ASSOC.org or facebook.com/HCCA.Carmel.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Susie?
Sure. There is a Stretch It Out class at the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department, which actually, it's on Mondays from 6:30 to 7:30, and it starts this coming Monday, October 30th. The fee is $80 for the residents, $115 for non-residents, and it's right at Sycamore Park, the main building on Long Pond Road. And what it is, it's a stretch it out, give your body the time it needs to lengthen, expand, and restore. This program helps you become more limber and relaxed through stretching and breathing techniques. You will be using props to stretch and massage your muscles, feet and hands, and walk out of class feeling light and relaxed. Please wear comfortable clothing, and it's recommended that participants bring their own mat and towel. Again, if you're interested, it starts this Monday, and to call the Recreation Department at 845-628-7888.
Okay, thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I just want to go over the final, this is the timeline and schedule for the budget for 2018 fiscal year's budget. So, as it was stated earlier, the public hearing for the 2018 budget, this is where the public can come and comment on the preliminary budget that has been adopted by the board. That's on November 8th at 7 p.m. right here in the meeting room. We're also going to be having the public hearing on the fire department proposed contracts for 2018 that evening as well. So that's for Fire Protection District Number 1, which is the Mahopac Falls Fire Department, Fire Protection District Number 2, which is the Mahopac Fire Department, Fire Protection District Number 3, which is the Carmel Fire Department, and also the Carmel Volunteer Ambulance Corps, their proposed operating contracts / budgets for 2018 as well. So if you like to come out, this is your opportunity to comment on the budget on the November 8th right here in the meeting room. It starts at 7 p.m. So after the November 8th public hearing, the town board then will continue to review the preliminary budget for 2018, and then on November 15th is when, it's a Wednesday evening, it's a regular board meeting, the town board is expected to vote and adopt the 2018 budget. All right, so we're getting close to the adoption of the budget, but we do have the public hearing, which I encourage residents to come out to if you'd like to address the board and comment on what's being proposed for 2018. Okay, so that's all I have. Does anybody have anything else? Jonathan, you have anything? Okay, we do have executive session tonight, and so we're going to be closing the meeting from executive session. We're not going to be coming back out here to close. We have two items. One, Glenn Drosy, the town assessor. This is to consider a stipulation of settlement for a certiorari. This is for the Mahopac Golf Club. And we have a personnel budget year 2018 that the board is going to consider a personnel matter for next year's budget. I need a motion to go into executive session. So moved. So moved by Councilman Schneider, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you here next week for on November 1st for a town board voting meeting. And have a happy, safe holiday.